So right now there are a number of B2Bs that are using social networking platforms behind the firewall to collaborate. Avery Dennison is using Lotus Connections, which is a proprietary platform from IBM to socialize their intranet. Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab is using an open source solution called ELGE software to host their internal social network. And Salesforce Chatter, which is a web-based solution which allows you to add private social networking to your business, issues a report every year of the impact of Chatter on a business. And here's what they found for the 2011 report. That customers that use Chatter they have 28% fewer meetings, they send 32% less email, and 50% said they could find information faster. So again, the story of velocity and productivity gains. So, you know, it's one thing to sit down and say, oh, you need to be on Facebook. There are 750 million people. You need to be on LinkedIn. There are 175 million users. You need to be on Google+. There are 20 million users and growing. But that's not going to resonate with someone who sells air conditioning parts. You've got to tell them what it means to them. If you're talking to an intellectual property attorney, you've got to show them that business purchasing decisions are being made on these channels. You've got to collect the evidence, right? And that's sort of phase one of B2B social activation: listening, monitoring, and mapping. And in this case, I pulled up, just did a quick search, and I saw that there was somebody on Twitter yesterday that was looking for an IP attorney in the Baltimore area. And then I hopped over to LinkedIn and I saw a group with 22,000 members. I can see the titles of those people, and they're actively sharing about intellectual property. So this is the type of evidence that you're going to need to assemble if you want to get B2B social right. And phase two is building your personal profile. And building your personal profile on LinkedIn is not about putting your resume online. It's about going to LinkedIn groups and making sure that you're contributing intelligence to those discussions. And here you can see on the bottom of the telecommunications group on LinkedIn, the top experts are actually recognized at the bottom of the page. So I can see Sally Getch has the best answer in the telecommunications questions field. And I know that some sales managers are now rewarding the salespeople with first crack at leads if they can make that spot for the week, or if they can be a top influencer in a LinkedIn group. Phase three, after you know where the action is, where the activity is for your industry, after you've built your profile and learned who the players are, you're ready to socialize your business, socialize your brand. And there's a lot of different ways to do this, but I think probably the most common way I'm seeing and the most effective way in the B2B space is this idea of an embassy homeland strategy, okay? Your homeland is your domain, and you can socialize that with the addition of a blog at yourdomain.com. And the beauty of a blog is you're not limited to 140 characters. In social business, there's an intense need for knowledge and information, detailed information, to make a purchasing decision. Tough to do that in 140 characters. But on a blog, you're not limited on space. And once you've socialized the homeland, you're ready to start building embassies in different social media networks, right? And just like we, the US, have embassies in other countries, right? You can build embassies in these other social networks as well, but you have to realize that people do things differently in those different networks than you do things at your homeland. You know, I do a lot of work for the State Department, and I work at the embassies quite a bit. And at most US embassies, 15% of the staff are US diplomats, and the rest are all local hires. And those local hires guide those 15% of US diplomats through the ways of the culture of that land. right? Because things happen a little different in Athens than they do in Rome, right? Than they do in Iraq. And as a matter of fact, in some embassies, we have more marine security support than we do in others. It depends on how hostile the environment is. And you might apply that same approach to your social media marketing strategy. If you're going to build an embassy in LinkedIn, are you going to staff that embassy with people who understand the way things get done in LinkedIn? And if you build an embassy in Twitter and on SlideShare, which is a terrific social network for PowerPoint, the de facto tool of the B2B sale, are you going to staff that with people who understand that environment? The concept of building an embassy in Google would be about search engine optimizing the content that's on your blog. So an important point here